The Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Edge Boost. Edge Boost enables you to double your bet with no interest. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge to get started today. Welcome, everybody, to the Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. My name is Malcolm Bamford, coming from Newcastle upon Tyne, northeast of England. Today is Sunday, May the 21st, and we are here to have a little look back over this weekend. Bit of a weird weekend in the Prem. And then we got three games, just a little mini card. We got I think it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We got a game every night. Tricky 3 games to handicap as well. But the man to do it is sitting on the other end of this phone, and it's Mr. Barry Penaluna. Bazza, what's happening?
Good evening. I'm struggling a bit here, Malcolm. I've got the sun.
Funnily enough, yeah, go on, tell us why.
Yeah, I went out this morning. Spring's arrived, hasn't it, in the UK? It's nice. Been a lovely weekend. Been a lovely day. And I went out, left the house at 9:30 this morning. It was positively mild, quite cool. Went out for kids' football. Stood on the touchline for a couple of hours. And by the time I got home, I knew I was in trouble. Yeah, my bald head is very delicate, very sensitive to the sun. I didn't have a cap on. I actually took my SGPN cap and left it in the car. So I have been burnt to a crisp. My forehead is now absolutely throbbing. I've got a headache. I feel sick. I just feel very silly about myself, really. I made a big error.
I had a feeling, I just come in here about 10 minutes ago to fire up all the equipment and stuff. And I just thought, I bet your Baz has burned his massive baldy heat today. Because we played baseball today. So, and you're right, it was an incredible day, a beautiful day. I didn't quite expect it to be as hot as it was. So I went and played. I didn't expect to play because I haven't been training much. And then one of our players, right at the end of the warm-up, literally they've done all the warm-ups and run out on the field to play, and he just falls out and buggers his knee. So I got the call off the bench. So I played back-to-back games, and that was hot but I got sun creamed up. So I'm quite a nice, healthy colour, yeah, Baz. You know, I'm looking all right. I've had a bath. The ankles and my feet are in tatters. Everything was hot and sweaty and a mess. But there was other people who were struggling. There was a few of the baldy heeds who were struggling. And then I just knew, I just had a feeling that I was going to open, your screen was going to pop up and big pink Baz was going to be on the other end. Sure enough.
I've even coordinated it with a pink T-shirt tonight as well. So
you can't tell where your head stops and your body starts, like your T-shirt starts. But yeah, you're going to feel that in the morning.
Otherwise, made the most of it today, the nice weather. I've had the barbecue on. We've had a bit of pork belly, ribs.
Nice.
Barbecued beans, slaw, corn on the cob. We've had the full works, like big barbecue platter tonight in here. So we've ate well today.
On the top of the oven, just over there, Baz, is a classic British dessert. What is it?
It's going to be a trifle.
Oh, I tell you what, you're unlucky there, Baz. It's a lemon meringue pie. However, I made a jelly the other night. Last night, Megan, the boy made a jelly. I don't know why. We just made a jelly. And there's been custard kicking around. So the trifle ingredients are all here. No squirty cream. The trifle ingredients are in situation, but there's no trifle. Nearly a trifle, but there is a lemon meringue pie.
Nice.
Good afternoon to anyone who's tuned in. Captain Insano's in the chat. You said he was at the golf, Baz. Is he at the golf?
Yeah, I thought Captain was at the golf with, I'd seen him with a few of the golf podcast crew.
Yes.
He caught up with Serial as well because Serial was there. I'm assuming Insano is back home now. So they were definitely there yesterday, and I think Serial's there again today, but obviously Insano's back home.
Did Captain Insano, did he look like you thought he would look like?
I'm not sure because the only person I recognised on the picture, there was 4 of them, and I knew Serial.
Yeah,
I wasn't entirely sure who the captain was, so I'll have to ask you. You'll have to point him out.
He was far left is the answer. I
did think I recognised a couple of the others. So yeah.
the golf boys look like their coverage has been brilliant for the PGA. The round 4 is ongoing as we speak. But they did a little watch along, a live show. Boston Cap has been out there with Cameron and Steve, the god of golf, Shermer. And yeah, some of the listeners went out there, but it looks loads of fun. And their coverage, honestly, top class. So if you're just dipping it out for the majors or you're a regular golf watcher, the Golf Gambling Podcast is absolutely top class. We'll get into this weekend's results because, I don't know, it was a bit of a mixed bag. I came away feeling ever so slightly underwhelmed, but we can talk about all of that once I've told you about Edge Boost. If you haven't signed up for Edge Boost, you're missing out. Edge Boost is the world's first bet now, pay later Visa card. Similar to buy now, pay later programs, Edge Boost enables you to double your bet with no interest and pay back the advance over 4 equal weekly installments, 0% interest. Simply deposit funds into your account. Edge Boost will match the deposit so you can double the funds on any legal sports betting site. Edge currently offers up to $2,500 in advances. My Edge Boost double down play of the day is brackets. I should have read the end of that sentence before I read the start. I'll put something in a bit. Something on the Premier League is the answer. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge to sign up today. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge. Must be 21 or older. To use, only valid in legal gambling states. Problem gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Yeah, I was expecting a exciting weekend of football, but and nothing really happened. Like, it wasn't very exciting. Like the last few weeks, it's all been topsy-turvy results. There's been fight backs. There's been loads of goals. And now we've come out of this weekend and just about everything. I looked at all the outright markets.
Yeah, everything's done.
Everything's done, yeah. It's all of a sudden. It was like,
that was the big takeaway for me from this weekend. Liverpool dropped the points, so Newcastle, Man United now only need 1 point to secure top 4. Brighton today have just about secured 6th place in a Europa spot. That looks done. It's now pretty much down to Leeds or Everton, isn't it? Unless Leicester can pull off a miracle tomorrow. Man City won the league thanks to Arsenal. And that's through today's into a bit of chaos because you just didn't know what to expect. And then you saw the lineups. And as you say, the fixtures have just made it so that this next week's really difficult. And next weekend will be an absolute minefield.
It's going to be a bloodbath next week.
Because there'll be a lot of teams who don't need to win. That doesn't mean they'll rest players, but you've just got no idea until later on. So, yeah, it comes into play with these games we've got this week. Really, really difficult. And as you say, it wasn't particularly exciting. I mean, we would all probably have enjoyed seeing a full-strength Man City team go out to beat Chelsea to win the league today. And then Arsenal just folded to Forest. And, Forest are now safe. Arsenal handed the title to City and made today a bit less exciting than it maybe would have been.
Yeah, like you say, the markets that were live, so Newcastle are now 250 to 1 on, Man United at 250 to 1 on. I mean, Everton 3-1 to go down to the only one, but you've got minus 1,000, sort of 10 to 1 on Leicester, minus sort of 16 to 1 on Leeds after today. The European places, Liverpool look booked for 5th, Brighton look booked for 6th, Villa look booked for 7th. It's just a bit of a weird one. We start at the top anyway. I mean, in picks wise, I think I've ended with 9 games because we got Newcastle tomorrow. I think I'm 1 unit down. A couple of my unders started off in. I died by the late goal. A couple of late goals killed me. However, that's part of the game because I have won a few nice picks by the late goal as well. So you got to have it both ways if you want them to count in the 94th minute. You've got to sometimes take the loser to go with the winner. So yeah, the 99th minute. Well, yeah, even that.
We'll get to that. We'll get
to all of that shit in a bit. Saturday lunchtime bars. Tottenham 1, Brentford 3. I took the unders. You took the overs. I mean, my takeaway from this is just quite how bad Tottenham are again.
Yeah, I mean, I said this last week against Villa. I know you were a bit more in favour of them against Villa last week, and I'd said I just didn't see what you'd seen to make you think Tottenham were going to be any better, and the next 2 weeks have really shown that. they go up early on, didn't they, through Kane getting his single goal. I've said last week, doesn't matter whether it's a good Spurs performance or a bad one, Kane will pop up with his goal somewhere. And that's all that matters for a minute. He gets another goal closer to the record, and who cares if Spurs win or lose? And then, I called it right. I said I fancied the goals, and I particularly mentioned Mbeumo and Wissa. I said I think the two of them are more than capable of stepping in and getting the goals where Tony's not there. And that proved to be the case. 3 goals from the two of them. I actually looked at Mbeumo. I was trying in fantasy football. I've got a little bit of ground to make up, so I needed to be a bit different. Where everyone else has got the same players at this stage, I thought I need to bring someone different in and captain someone different to Haaland. And Mbeumo crossed my mind. The only thing that put me off is that they play Man City next week, and I didn't want to be stuck with him next week when I wouldn't play him, so I didn't do it. It did cross my mind. I ended up bringing in Alvarez, though. He got us a goal.
Mentioned Brentford as well. They've played really well. They've had a great season. Up to 9th now, or in 9th. I think they're in 9th anyway. Point behind Tottenham, 2 behind Villa, so could still get a little bit better for them. They have got City to play, though. But they've 14 wins. They've scored plenty of goals as well. And they've got some good players. You say Tony was out, and the other boys step up for him. Manager's been great as well. So hats off to them. Next was a rare success for me. Bournemouth nil, Manchester United 1. We both said this. The under 2.5 was just huge, gigantic, absolutely gigantic. Man United do nothing but play low-scoring games, and this was never a sweat.
No, 7-4 it went off. So, what, plus 175 in the end?
Yeah.
Absolute madness. And they scored early on, didn't they? And then you might think, oh, here we go. But they did that last week as well in the game.
Yeah.
I don't remember was it Wolves maybe?
Yes.
They got a second in that one in injury time. But just the same script every week. So the price was ridiculous, and it was the easiest one of the week for us, wasn't it? It mostly went downhill from there for me. So, I was pleased to cash those 2 early on. I don't think I hit a lot more. Probably my first losing weekend in a while, to be honest. Although, if you put in the lock and the scorers and stuff, we done okay overall. But the games will come on to. We'll show we were a whisker away from it being a really, really solid week.
I think we did make good picks, but we've said before, you've got to make the good picks, but then you have to carry the look. The next game was a game we didn't really carry the look on. We was Fulham 2, Crystal Palace 2. We both took Fulham, and they were ahead and playing really, really well. I had this on the radio, and Fulham just looked like they were going to go away, score a third and a fourth. We both had Mitrovic as our goal scorer as well. Price was 13 to something, 15-4. Plus 375. So, you can tag that on as your anytime goal scorer. But then Palace came away and got a late equaliser. This was one of the kind of late goals that stymied us a little bit. But it was just a nothing game, really, Baz. It was the most mid-table game of the weekend.
Yeah, I agree. As I say, frustrating to lose it late on. Nice to get the Mitrovic goal. As I say, we both took that. I just felt like, once they edged ahead, I felt they'd see it out. Wasn't to be in the end. You look at the stats for the game. I didn't watch the game, but the stats would suggest the draw was probably a fair result in the end. As you say, always a little bit unlucky once you get your noses in front. Disappointing not to see it out. And that moves us swiftly on to the next game, which is even more disappointing on that front.
Oh, yeah. Shit. It is for you. Liverpool 1, Aston Villa 1. I took the under 2.5 again. I said I didn't like it. But at the numbers, 6-4 plus 150, the same as the Man United game. The stats were there for it, that Liverpool just keep winning these home games 1-0. You took Villa 21-4. Villa missed a penalty. Villa got ahead. Then Liverpool had a weird one disallowed by VAR. Actually, it's almost like Liverpool's luck just ran out a little bit on this day, because I don't think that goal should have been disallowed. Newcastle had one disallowed at Forest for it's whatever shitty rule they've decided now, that whether the defender's playing it or not playing it. Load of bollocks. And then Liverpool did get an equaliser late on again, sort of 88, 89th minute, something like that. And that changed you out the old Villa win. But Villa did play well. They had a better XG than Liverpool on the day. And I just think Liverpool couldn't keep getting away with it. Their midfield's not very good. If you're rolling out, I think it was Henderson, Curtis Jones, and Fabinho. When I watched them last Monday night, see him again on Saturday. And that's just not going to get it done every single week, Pat.
No, I mean, I'd said for a while, and they have, take a hat off to them. They've ground out a big run of games with wins and not lost many. I've always been thinking, I just haven't been impressed with them much at all in that run of games. And I thought this probably represented their last chance to drop points. I don't think they'll drop any against Southampton next week. But again, the season could be finished next week, so who knows what team they put out against Southampton. I don't know. For me, I just thought Villa represented good value. I thought there was a real chance they could go there and get something. 5-1. So to be ahead so late on 90th minute when the equaliser goes in. I mean, I did say at the time I was going with a 5-1 pick, but if anyone fancied a safer play, then Villa double chance, I'd recommend it as well at 13-8, so about 1 plus 165. So hopefully one or two might have took that angle on it and managed to pick up a win. But yeah, always disappointed, especially for a 5-1 underdog getting so far into it. Although, say 90th minute, there was still 10% of the game left at that stage because they got that obligatory 10 minutes of injury time for that one, didn't it, to see if they could nick a winner.
Yeah. The next one, Wolves 1, Everton 1. No use to anyone this, Baz. I took Wolves, you took Everton. So obviously it was a draw. Should have been my 1-1 of the week, but wasn't. And this is the one that chinned me out. This is the one that cost me the profit for the week. Would have put me ahead because Everton did score in the 99th minute. I thought Wolves were too big because Everton are shite, basically. There's everyone kept saying they were too good to go down, but I kept watching them. I wasn't seeing it. You hark back to the game that saved their bacon is that completely and utterly weird 5-1 win at Brighton, which, take those 3 points away, and they'd be down in, and they'd be second bottom of the table, but they didn't. They got the win. The point effectively was meaningless. Everyone was getting a little bit excited about it, but it didn't really make an awful lot of difference. It wasn't much of a game. Wolves tried hard. Wolves did okay, played well, had chances. Calvert-Lewin went off injured again, and Everton stuck at the task. And that's still 3-1 to go down. They just need a result next week now. It's home to Bournemouth. The way Bournemouth played at the weekend, Bournemouth got absolutely nothing to play for at all. You'd think that even Everton, if take a point, Leeds would have to win by 3 goals to overhaul them. So it looks like that Everton should be safe now, but
yeah, I think so. I can't see much changing down the bottom because Leeds could get something against Spurs. They're at home to Spurs. Spurs are done and dusted. But Leeds look poor today, didn't they? I messaged you after this one about the injury time because you got done. 99th minute. And to be clear, there wasn't any big major injuries or anything like that. And Wolves player, I think it was Ruben Neves after the game, was interviewed. And he said he'd spoke to the ref and said, where did 9 minutes come from? And the ref said, we've been told this weekend to add all of the extra time on for the last 2 weeks. And Neves rightly said, if you haven't done it all season, why are you suddenly doing it now? And it seems odd. We've seen it in the World Cup where they started adding a much...
Well, they did that for the first week or so, didn't they?
Yeah, but it died out of there, didn't it?
And then it stopped. Then it went away.
Come back, went to Premier League, and it's all as normal. 3s, 4s, 5s every week. And now all of a sudden, everyone was getting 9 minutes, 10 minutes. The Liverpool game, there was 21 minutes, I think, in total, first half and second half. So it's not... if you're going to change it and change the instruction to referees, then do it from next season or start it and trial it in pre-season friendlies, whatever you want to do. But with 2 games left, I think that's just dodgy. I don't like it. I think, if that was an important point, it was a point Everton got that 1 week ago they wouldn't have got, because a week earlier, the instruction to the referee would have been as it was, and then they got 4 or 5 minutes injury time and Everton lose the game. And changing it at this stage just isn't right. I don't get it at all.
It's just hard to see that it's who's it to benefit, because
the thing is, what it does, Malcolm, is it just. I'd messaged someone about last night. He just said the Premier League just don't make it easy for themselves, because I don't think the Premier League got corrupt. But things like this just triggers people's heads and start getting crazy thoughts. If you looked at it yesterday, Arsenal needed a goal. Spurs needed a goal. Liverpool needed a goal. They all got 9 minutes or 10 minutes of injury time. Man United didn't need a goal. They were 1-0 up, 4 minutes. So it's things like that where people look at it and think, well, hold on. The so-called big teams who all needed a goal yesterday got the big injury time amount. And then when Man United, on the other hand, and I don't think any of the games particularly had excessive amounts of stuff going on. But that's what triggers people's mind. I just think it wasn't necessary. To change it at this time was silly. And you look at the Man City game today, 3 minutes of additional time. So it didn't happen today in Man City game.
Yeah.
But it did in those games, those 3 games where 3 of the so-called Big Six, I mean, Spurs aren't Big Six anymore, but all 3 of them teams, Arsenal, Spurs, Liverpool, needed a goal late on, and they all got 10 minutes extra with which to try and get it. And I think that's what looks dodgy to people. And I just think it's stupid. It's unnecessary. Just wait till next season and then make an announcement next season to say, we're going to start cutting out the time wasting, because that's fine. If you want to do that, we've talked about time wasting loads and said the best thing to do about it is the referees just deal with it at the time on. So do it, but make an announcement next season to say that's what you're doing, not just do it on the sly. And it's only come out as a result of one of the players asking a question and then telling everybody about it. But I think it just looks a bit dodgy to me. I'm not saying it is dodgy, but that's the way it can look to people. And
that's it. Yeah, it is. It's the perception, because like for example, our Twitter feed now, the show Twitter feed is full of supporters and news and Twitter profiles from every different club. And guarantee every single club thinks they're the hardest done to by VAR. Everyone. And it's funny, like Newcastle fans say, well, what about in the show, you the little 6 screenshots of Longstaff having his shirt pulled and the Crystal Palace player pushing. But every team's got their own little thumbnail 6 photographs. It's things like this that just hard nosed. I mean, I think they've got to trial the 60-minute clock, don't they, in a league somewhere? Try it in the National League or something, just a 60-minute ball in and out, because it can't keep going the way it's going. It's really high profile at the minute. Everyone's talking about it. It's horrible. I hate it. And the other thing, the thing that's like you can manipulate is the head injury, the concussion shit as well. So the ball comes into the box, someone heads it clear, and then you just stay down. If you want that clock, if you head it back out to the corner taker and you don't want that ball swung in again, just stay on the floor and the game will get stopped 1,000,000%. And I don't know what you can do about that.
It's a tricky one, isn't it? I mean, it happened in the Liverpool game yesterday and they didn't stop it. There was a clear head injury. The ball got wellied into someone's face. I can't remember who, one of the Villa players. The referee allowed Liverpool to carry on with their attack, waited till it was cleared and then stopped it. And I thought, if you're stopping it for a head injury, you can't just let the team have their attack first. You either stop it or you don't. Make your mind up. As you say, it's open to abuse, that one. And now you do.
Yeah, it is. Goalkeepers do it. And so hopefully the powers
one
of big
thing that, one positive from. Are we on the Liverpool? Have we done Liverpool yet? No, we haven't.
We've done Liverpool, but
we've done Liverpool. One thing I picked up during the game, I mean, you could tell Liverpool were behind first half. They should have had 3 or 4 bookings for fouls or getting away with all sorts in the first half. So I did put in the Discord cards in the second half. I said get on over 5.5 and upwards. We finished with 8 yellow cards.
Nice.
Including one for Martinez, which is the old system play, isn't it?
Yeah, the system play was live and well. I noticed that.
Back the keeper to get the yellow card, and he picked it up quite early, 70 minutes or something. That cashed at 72 plus 350, the Martinez card. So again, another plug for the Discord, where we sometimes put some good stuff in there in play as well. Yeah,
that was the old Simmers special goalkeeper bit. Nottingham Forest 1, Arsenal 0. This was the classic example of kind of handicapping the game right and then getting the wrong bet, because we liked Forest. I was into Forest. I didn't have the balls to take them. I took them on the team total. and not thinking if they won, they were ever going to win 1-0. So I was right but wrong. Arsenal tried quite hard, so this was just a bit of a weird one. And I got to say, Baz, I'm kind of pleased for Forest. I know people have, a lot of people have had that say today. Forest seem to be quite a popular team in terms of avoiding relegation. I think they're either a big club and they're quite a historic club, and I've got some friends who support them, and you live there, so we've got all of those things. So personally, I think you're okay, but then they've gone against the current zeitgeist. For example, Leeds chopping and changing the manager. Nottingham Forest stuck with him, and it paid off, and he seems like a nice bloke. The players responded. They finished the season really, really well. We had them written off a couple of times, Baz. There's no...
You did. You did, aye.
Sorry, what?
You did.
Baz, don't make me go through the old episodes and fetch out. Every week you said, I think that's Forest done, that's Forest done, that's Forest done.
No,
are you insane?
No, definitely.
Are you Forest fans listening through the wall or something?
I've not written them off, like.
You definitely did. But yeah, great win for Forest, so delighted for them. Like I said, I think they contribute a lot more to the Premier League than a lot of the other, we've talked about Bournemouth and teams like that. And Forest are a proper club, so happy for Forest. Arsenal, it's all ended with a bit of a whimper, Baz.
Yeah, I mean, I took the goals. And again, like you say, we both said we had a feeling Arsenal would have trouble here. I didn't think they'd struggle to score. I thought there'd be goals on it. I thought this could be something like a 2-2 or a 3-2 either way or something like that. Because Forest have started scoring, which is a big boost for them. One is whatever you want to call him. He's on the score sheet again. But yeah, disappointing for me. Nowhere near. I took the Asian goal line, 3 goals. And it let my treble down as well, because my parlay of the week was 3 games to be over 2.5. This was the only one that didn't come in for me, so a little bit.
I'm giving up on those parlays, Baz. I kind of get more than one leg every week. I'm never even close to landing.
I get done by one leg. Generally, to get done by 1 goal every week.
Right. Well, I recommend I get done by all the legs and all the goals. West Ham United 3, Leeds United 1. I was wrong. Took the unders. Thought it would be a bit tight. You were wrong. You took Leeds. Turns out, Baz, that Leeds might just be absolutely awful.
It turns out that way, yeah. I mean, I got off to a good start. Went 1-0 up quite early on, but it didn't last too long. West Ham put a stronger lineup. I mean, my reason for taking Leeds was based on the fact I thought West Ham had rested everyone. They were all on the drink after Thursday night's win. Yeah. Lineup comes out. They did rest Ben Rama, Antonio, a couple of others, but Bowen was in there, Paquetá, Rice, Fornals, so they did have a really strong lineup out in the end. And I was a bit fearful at that point. So, yeah, another bad one for me, that one.
Where do you stand on Knowlesy, the West Ham fan, Baz?
Fair play to him, really. I'm okay with it. I mean, I don't think he was looking for trouble. And he done trying to prevent it, really, I suppose. What's your view? I don't think you like him, do you?
I think he's probably a knob.
You don't like fighting, so that's your problem.
I think he does like fighting.
Possibly. Yeah. You could be right.
Anyway, if I see you in town, Knowlesy, I'll get you a beer. I'm called Barry. The other one's called Malcolm. Brighton 3, Southampton 1. Picked a winner, Baz. Brighton team total, which I thought was 7-4. You told me it was 4-5. Didn't know. I don't know anything about this game. Didn't see it. I saw the score. And I picked a winner. Do you know anything about this?
Yeah, Brighton were 2-0 up at half time. As you say, that we both took the team total, 3 goals. Took a little bit of a slow burner, but Brighton were getting all the chances. Probably fair enough at half time. Southampton did come back into it, got 2-1 up on an hour, and very quickly afterwards had a goal disallowed. So they did almost get back to 2-2 at one point. The third goal come 20 minutes from the end. Gross got involved, and that was that. Good performance from Brighton. I think we thought it was a good spot for them to bounce back, didn't we? Against a Southampton side who are now done.
Yeah, agree. Manchester City 1, Chelsea 0. Didn't see. I saw the last few minutes of this. It just looked like a bit of a end of season testimonial, I thought City would come out. Again, we handicapped this thinking City would have to go and win it to win the league. So my handicap was Man City over 1.5 first half goals. And then I checked my phone when in between innings at the baseball and it scored early on. I thought champion. And then again, I don't know much after that, but yeah, it's another loser. Did you see the game?
Yeah, I watched the game. I mean, to be fair, it was fairly evenly matched. Chelsea didn't play too badly today. They had more shots on goal. They had a higher XG, more shots on target. I thought City would make changes, but I thought it would be the usual: bring in Foden, bring in Mahrez. Haaland might start and play for an hour or something. And then even when Arsenal lost yesterday, I just thought, Man City have been preparing for the last few days for an 11 to start. They must have trained as if a certain 11 were going to start. And I just thought he'd stick with that. And I don't believe the team he put out today would have been the team he would have put out had Arsenal not have lost. So he was prepared to change it, and he did make a lot of changes. So it was pretty much everyone. I think who stayed in was Walker. I think Kyle Walker was the only one who kept his place. Kanji possibly might have been another one. But yeah, he changed the keeper. Phillips and Lewis came in for Rodri, Gundogan, Mahrez, Palmer, Foden, Alvarez came in. So lots of changes. And to be honest, it didn't really change my mind much because we know Chelsea are hopeless. We know Man City always win at home. And I thought even this version of Man City looked okay. I mean, what did you write down what price I took? I took City to score 3 or more.
No, didn't write that down, Baz.
I'm sure it wasn't massive, maybe 6-4 or something like that. When it come round to the game today, because of the lineups, you were getting almost 5-2 for City to score 3 or more. So plus 250. The prices had gone really big. And for that reason, I still fancied it. I just thought, these can still score goals, and we're getting big prices now. But it wasn't to be. I mean, they created chances. They had a couple disallowed as well. That was disappointing for me. I've got Alvarez and Mahrez in my team. Mahrez set Alvarez up for one, disallowed. And then Alvarez set Mahrez up for one and was disallowed. So I got robbed of about 30 points. One of them was a blatant handball. The other one was a really soft foul. Once the referee had given it, it was never going to get overturned. So there was opportunities for them to get more goals. And as I say, Chelsea did threaten at times. Sterling was okay. Got a few shots on target. But yeah, this is the City we've got for the next 2 games, isn't it? We just don't know what we're going to get. I think they'll still want to keep the momentum up and keep pushing, but they did enough. It's another win, 12 in a row or something now. Yeah.
Okay, so that's that done. I've just burst a great big blister on my thumb there, Baz. I've got blister juice all over the place. A little batten blister, from being a sporting hero today and that. Okay, we've got 3 games to have a look at, 3 tricky games, but we'll do our best. Once I've told you about Shady Rays, teaming up with SGPN for Shady May. Getting an amazing 50% off, but a chance to win $500. Shady Rays got you covered from the sun to the slopes with premium polarized shades, customizable snow goggles, and much more. And don't forget that even on day 1, if you break them, lose them, you can send them back. You can exchange for a new pair or return them for free within 30 days. There's no risk when you shop with Shady Rays. And for our international listeners, Shady Rays has you covered as well with shipping to Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and the United Kingdom. Go to shadyrays.com, use the code SGPN for 50% off 2 or more pairs of polarized sunglasses. And remember, May is almost over, so make sure to take your receipt to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/shady for your chance to win the $500 Shady May contest. We got 3 games here in decreasing scales of trickiness to handicap, I think. First game is tomorrow. A game where you will both be at Baz. It's Newcastle United against Leicester City. Newcastle need 1 point to secure Champions League football for next season. Leicester City need a win and then another one at the weekend to get out of the shit. Newcastle are 9-25, minus 277. The draw's 92, plus 450. And Leicester are 6-1. Newcastle had that comprehensive win over Brighton last week. The more I've thought about this, Baz, the weirder and weirder this result seems, because I'm looking at Newcastle's form line, which the only game they've lost was Arsenal. Arsenal have already beaten Newcastle. They can't beat anybody else, so that form doesn't look great. We were poor against Leeds, and then, as just discussed, Leeds have remained shite and can't beat anybody else. And then Brighton have been absolutely brilliant against everyone, and they rested all their good players, and then played in a really weird way against us. I wasn't sure what they were trying to achieve at any point. I was happy to take the 3 points, but I'm not sure if the form Newcastle are in. We don't look too healthy either. Joe Willock went off. I think that's him done for the season. The rest of the midfield was limping about. Joe Linton, Bruno was limping around as per. I mean, they're playing with lots of energy. They're still scoring goals. In 5 of the last 6 games, they've scored 6, 4, 3, 2, and 4. Arsenal blank was the other one in that. The thing about Leicester here is that their performance against Liverpool last week, I thought, was quite alarming, in that there was absolutely no fight as well as no quality. Really, you need a little bit of both at this stage. But if you haven't got the quality, you've certainly got to run around and kick shit out of everything. And Leicester just didn't look like they had it in them at all. And I'm not sure the appetite that they'll have tomorrow. Newcastle have got a great record at home. We've got a great record early on. But for my bet, Newcastle don't keep clean sheets. The last clean sheet they kept was against Manchester United on the 2nd of April. That was 9 games ago, if you remember how bullish we were that weekend about Newcastle winning. So Newcastle don't keep clean sheets, but I think they have to go out and win tomorrow. It's been a long season. Every time there's been a little bit of adversity, Newcastle have bounced back. They couldn't do any more. I know they can't help what Brighton did last week in terms of the selection and the performance, but I just think with the crowd behind them, everyone knows. I mean, everyone's up for it. Newcastle to win and both teams to score, Baz, is a price of 13-8 plus 162. I think we could see another 3 or 4-1 like we saw on Thursday night.
Yeah, I agree with most of your takes there, really. I think, despite the fact we only need a point, the only way to secure that is to go out full throttle as we would normally and try and take all 3. I think it'll be a big atmosphere tomorrow. There's a huge amount of excitement around Newcastle going into tomorrow's game and the expectations that we might be able to clinch this 4th spot with a game to spare. They will want to do it at home, big celebration. So I think it's a horrible spot for Leicester, this. Leicester were probably hoping and praying Villa had held on the other day and Newcastle would have come into this knowing that Champions League was done and maybe come into it a little bit drunk. Who knows? But here's one for you. Eddie Howe has never lost an evening game. I mean, I haven't verified this stat, but I heard somebody else say it, so I'm going to say it. He's never lost an evening game as manager of Newcastle United.
Okay.
So that's a good one. Certainly this season, that would make sense because we've lost to Liverpool. Well, that Liverpool was an evening game, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was just going to say the first one you're going to mention is going to shoot that.
St James's Park, he's never lost.
So on a Monday.
Yeah,
in May.
Know. That's a rubbish stat. Anyway, it doesn't lose many evening games, Malcolm. I'll tell you.
Yeah, not many.
Here's a stat that's definitely true. Newcastle have scored 4 or more goals 8 times this season. They've scored 19 in the last 6 games. They've already beaten Leicester twice this season, 2-0 and 3-0. Now, it is a massive game for Leicester also, but they just can't defend, can they? They've conceded 15 in their last 6 games, 10 of them coming in the last 3. The last time a clean sheet for Leicester in the league, that was back in November. Wow. So you're going back almost 6 months for the last clean sheet. So my main pick here is Newcastle to score 3 or more. They might only need a draw. I don't think they'll leave anything to chance. I can see it being a big night. If we can get a goal early, I think there'll be a few players wanting to fill their boots here. And Leicester might just fold if they go down a bit early. So my main pick is Newcastle to score 3 or more at 11-10. I agree with you. Something like a 3-1, 4-1. Don't mind the over 3.5 if you want to be ambitious. 11-4 plus 275 for that. The bookies are on to us with the corners, Malcolm.
Oh, really? What they got? Up to 8 or something?
Last few weeks, we've been looking at over 5.5 has been the line. And against Brighton, we hit that in the first half. Never hit another corner the rest of the game. This week, you've got to go to 6.5. Lane Elliott's just come up in the chat and said exactly the same thing. It's over 6.5 and it's at 8 to 11. So it's quite a bit juiced as well, that. So they are on to us. I mean, that's not to say it won't hit. You know, we've hit double figures in plenty of games. But again, I'll probably look to, I like to include the corners in a bet. I'll look to do something similar. Maybe tie it up with Newcastle to score 3 or more, and then tag on the 6 corners, 7 corners, 8 corners, and play it that way. And if the goals come in, then your corners can start hitting you for some decent prices. But yeah, they've definitely shortened up quite a bit this week on the corners. So less attractive, doesn't mean it won't win, but certainly one to think of for your bet builders and stuff like that.
Okay. Wednesday is 8 o'clock kickoff, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Brighton against Manchester City. Brighton 16-5 plus 320. The draw is 3-1, and Man City are what does that say? 13-18 minus 138. Impossible to handicap this, Baz. What you got?
Yeah, I mean, I've just wrote it. Just gets really difficult at this stage, doesn't it? I mean, Lane's just come in saying he's lost today on Leeds, and Man City took the Man City team total at 2.5. And both of them games were ones very much like this one we're about to talk about, where I tipped Leeds fully expecting West Ham to be much weaker than they were. West Ham went a lot stronger than expected. And then the Man City team total was done with an expectation of a strong City team, which turned out to be far weaker. So a little bit of a sort of, it's one of those things where you really want to wait and see the lineups. Obviously, we don't have the luxury of that on the show. And as I say, I mean, that City game, it didn't really put me off, but it just didn't work out in the end. So, I mean, which version of City are we going to see? Will he revert to playing all the starters this week? So he rested De Bruyne, Haaland, Grealish, Gundogan, Silva, all of them. Is he going to bring them back in? Or is he just going to play, give players the likes of Mahrez, Foden, Cole Palmer, Alvarez more game time as a reward for having sat on the bench quite a lot this season? It's hard to know. And similar, which version of Brighton turns up, we've just pointed out how inconsistent they've been lately. Good win today. They've had good wins against Man United and Arsenal recently. Very poor against Newcastle. Very poor against Everton. Lost to Forest. So just all over the shop, really. The overall view of Brighton is great season. Great team to watch. But again, they've secured 6th place today. Can't drop below 7th. I think they've got a 20-goal margin, which makes them safe in that spot. So again, I think he might make a few changes. Hard to know what'll happen there. So it is such a hard one to call. But I'm looking at Man City here at 8-11, and I think it's generous. So all the big names were rested today, and if 3 or 4 of them do come back in, there's no way you're getting 8-11. If let's say De Bruyne, Haaland, Grealish start midweek, there's no way you're getting 8-11 for City in this game, I don't think. Even with them having won the league and nothing to play for, I just feel like they'll want to keep the momentum up. They're on a huge winning streak at the moment. They've got 2 cup finals coming up, but you want to keep winning. You want to keep that success around. And I think any version of this City side can beat Brighton on the day. So City at 8-11, I'm going to put up as a pick. But I'm going to say you probably need to get on it early, because that must be based on them expecting a weakened team. And I have a feeling it'll be a bit stronger than that. And I think the price will shorten quite considerably if so. I'll also take City over 2.5 goals, just because it's a big price based on the same thing again. Over 2.5 goals, you can get it 7-4 City goals. These are so plus 175. We haven't had a price like that for City to score 3 or more for quite a while. And as I say, if City do go stronger, they might do. They've rested everyone today. They might not need to rest them again midweek. Cup finals are still quite a way off anyway. So yeah, I'll also take the City over 2.5 goals at 7-4.
Okay. Guess what I've done, Baz? Completely
took
gone the other
Brighton.
way. Yeah, I thought Man City might put out a team that's even beyond a weakened team. Sort of the kids like Craig Bellamy, Stephen Ireland might get a game, Colin Bell. I think you could like stick all of them in the side. Like, yeah. So it all depends on team selection. From both sides, how much Brighton want it. Do they want to show off a bit? They've had a great season, and it's their last home game. I just looked at the prices. Like, before I looked at this game, I thought if Brighton are around about 5-2, I'll take them, or bigger. So really, you're balancing up we're guessing with the teams we don't know. So you're balancing up what you know about the game with what the prices are. So I think with all the imponderables, you might end up with the greatest price you'll ever get on Manchester City. You might end up with a life-changing price on Man City. And Brighton might go and win this 3-0 because Man City are playing the under-10s. We don't know. And with those options available to us, I'm happy to take Brighton at a price of 16-5 plus 320. I mean, they're a good side as well. So even if Brighton are at full strength and Man City make a few changes, they're going to be in it.
You can make arguments either way. And I think we have to caveat these picks this week. As I say, we're fairly confident with our Newcastle play. But the next two, it's just a big lottery. Until you see those lineups, I'd hold off on. I mean, I just can't see that City price getting any bigger. So I'm willing to take them now and hope for a stronger lineup. But if they go out like you say and play some proper names we've never heard of, then I'm in trouble. But
well, this next one's not a lottery, Baz. I didn't even have to look. I looked at the teams.
That's true.
I wrote one thing down and I got on with the rest of my life. Manchester United take on Chelsea at 8 p.m. on Thursday. Man United are 3-5, minus 166. The draw is 16-5 plus 320, and Chelsea are 4-1. You know what I picked under? Man United's under every week. Chelsea aren't interested. Yes, Man United are happy to win 1 or 2-0. Chelsea are happy to lose 1 or 2-0. This will finish 1 or 2-0 to Manchester United. Absolutely no problem. It's plus money again, Baz. It's 5-4 this week, plus 120. Even looking at the league table, how many teams have scored more goals than Man United, Baz? Come on, pop quiz.
Do you know the answer?
Yeah.
You do. So I'm not allowed to cheat. I'm going to say, where are they? 4th in the league. I'm going to say there's 9 teams scored more than them.
Well, Man United are 9th. With 52 goals and goals scored, Man United have scored 52. Even that, Tottenham have scored 66, Brentford 57, Fulham 54. Leicester, second bottom, they've scored 49. They've scored 3 fewer than Man United. They just don't score. Interested in scoring. All the forwards are rubbish. And Chelsea, again, Frank Lampard absolutely might put out the kids as well, by the way. So we just don't know. But I didn't have to look any further. It's a system play. He might finish 7-6. Who knows? But at the odds, there's nothing else I can take here apart from the under 2.5.
Scored less than Chelsea?
4.
3.
Ooh.
The only teams that have conceded less than Chelsea, scored less than Chelsea. Chelsea have scored 36 in 36 games. Wolves, Everton, and Southampton are the only teams who haven't surpassed that total. So, like you, I think, again, man, they just need the 1 point. They don't need to go hell for leather here. And it's just really simple. For plus money, over 2.5, under 2.5, sorry, 10 of the last 11 now. And 5 in a row for Man United have gone under. So giving us huge odds-on prices about the overs just makes no sense. You've just got to go with the value side of it. It might not come in, but at this price, you've just got to keep riding it. So I've gone the same because the Man U form says so, and because we've seen nothing from Chelsea to suggest that suddenly this is going to be any kind of goal fest. The only thing, I'm still not impressed with Man United at all on a week-to-week basis.
Nope.
They do have really good home form. Chelsea were okay today. And I think you're getting almost 5-1 for them to win. They're worth a couple of quid. I'm tempted. So my pick is definitely the unders.
It would be fun.
But there's a little underdog play this week. Plus, I think if you shop around, you can get plus 500 for Chelsea. I think might be worth a little bit of a sprinkle.
Fair enough. And that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, is everything handicapped. There's nothing else going on. We've thrown out there's no playoffs, there's no foreign stuff, championships, all that to come. So we will have that all covered once we get through the mad weekend next Sunday, the final day of the Premier League season, when all the games will be played. But yeah, nothing else doing this week. So pretty short slate, a really tricky slate as well. But yeah, kind of week where you need to get a little bit creative with your bets. Baz, anything you would need to tell us before we go?
No, I think that's it from me. I'm going to go and rub some like aloe vera into my head or something like that.
Yeah.
Something like before it burns anymore.
I'm going to go and have some of that jelly. That's what I'm going to do.
Nice.
Wibble wobble, etc. Okay, we'll be back, I reckon, on Thursday. I might see you at the match tomorrow, Baz. Give us a shout. We might go for a pint or something. I need to go and retrieve my ticket from Whitley Bay as well, actually. So don't let me forget to do that. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Thanks for joining in. Good luck with all your bets this week. It's really hard, but there's something in there for you. Just find it. We'll be back on Thursday. Until then, we'll see you down the road. Cheers.